What's up, guys? Iceman here. Welcome to Haunting Tales. So there was this guy who was about 18 years of age, and he said that what he saw was terrifying. Now, after telling so many of these stories on this channel, I'm starting to realize that there's definitely something going on here. These upright creatures hidden out in the woods, most commonly anyway, kind of look like werewolves. The sharp teeth, the pointy snout, the pointy ears, the hulking physique, and just the look on their face. Some people say that these are interdimensional beings, where there could be something to be said about that. But what this guy in particularly saw was a dogman that he said looks like the creatures from the 2002 film Dog Soldiers. Look that film up if you guys haven't yet. These are some of the most terrifying werewolf figures that I've ever seen. They're very hulking on the top, on their upper body, and then their arms are very long with these claws. They're like almost alien-like with their arms, just how long and agile their arms are. And their teeth are just menacing and just this hideous, grotesque face that they possess. But this guy claims that he really saw one of these. So this story took place in Mississippi, a very small town that he said had about 250 people to it. He said that over the years growing up, there would often be situations where people's livestock would just get mutilated by some sort of predatory creature. People just generally assumed it must have been a bunch of coyotes or something. And the occasional pet would go missing. But this guy decided one early morning to go hunting. He had a tree stand out in the woods. And he started making his way out there. It was quite dark. It was about an hour before the light would spring out, the morning light. And he arrived to his location, which was this tree in a little tiny creek, or a crick might have been what they called it in Mississippi. He said it was only a couple inches deep. And this tree was out there. It was just the perfect spot to maybe catch a deer that's coming to get a drink of water or whatever. So he made it to his stand, the tree that was on the stand. The stand was like 20 feet up into the tree. So he starts climbing up this tree. The birds are all going off, the animals that are starting to wake up. Just that beautiful time of morning where you can hear the liveliness. But when he made it about halfway up that tree, suddenly, silence drew. He said everything around him stopped. No sounds, no noise, just suddenly. And he was climbing, he was like, stop. He stopped in the tree while he's climbing. He's like, what the hell's going on here? He said that a chill went up his spine. Just something, a sort of hesitation. You know, he didn't want to move. He said it's like all the animals around him just froze. And he did the same. So he stood perfectly still and he listened. And all he could hear was that little crick at the bottom of the tree, just the slight, subtle sound of running water. He knew he was in a compromising position. So a couple minutes later, maybe more like 30 seconds, he started climbing. He continued to climb. And then he made it to his tree stand. In his mind, he was like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get up there at the top of the stand, and I'm going to draw my bow. I'm going to have it ready and pointing down just for anything that could be the hell around here. He thought maybe it was a bobcat or something. And I just saw this video this morning, actually. It was a lynx, is what they would call it. And this thing was killing a fox. Yeah, it was really sad, actually. I have a thing for canines. All right, I have a heart for them because I have a German Shepherd dog myself. And just seeing that nasty cat rip the hell out of a fox was just hideous. But sometimes these things can be dangerous toward humans, right? They're not that large, but still, they can possess a threat to some extent. So he thought, oh, maybe it's a lynx. Oh, maybe it's a bear. Now, would that be concerning? Yes. But would it be that concerning? That depends. Are you prepared? So he made his way up to the tree stand, and it was still quiet. So without drawing his bow, he reached for his knife, and he had this massive hunting knife, like that thing on Rambo, just with a serrated edge, and then just a utility knife, basically. He had that knife drawn, and he just stood there in silence and clenched it in his fist. He was like, what the hell is going on? Just looking all over the place. And then what he saw was terrible. This is just something that I haven't read about before, because I was reading up on this guy's thread, right? These people were responding to him. He's like, oh, yeah. And there was like, oh, my God, I think it was a dogman. He said, I started looking into dogman, and that's exactly how this thing looked. This guy's a believer. Now, he remarked on how he never really believed in the supernatural, right? But when he was 18 years old, he decided to embark on a Ouija board experience. Now, I mean, I have a buddy who has one. I mean, I don't have any interest in that, you know? Honestly, I wouldn't touch that bullshit. You know, why would you try to invite a bunch of weird-ass shit into your life? But nonetheless, he said he did that in the past, and he had some weird experience, and it made him somewhat of a believer in the supernatural. He said that was his only hint on those realms ever, until this very day. So remember, it was still dark out. The animals were silent. He was sitting there with his knife drawn, just ready to go, about 20 feet up into this tree. And all of a sudden, he just hears something rustling through the woods. Just breaking through the branches. And he looks down, just frozen in fear. And he sees this creature kind of running down the hillside. And it doesn't come toward him, but it's running sort of away from him at a diagonal. And just not too far from the root of his tree, it just whizzes by. He says this thing it's running like a linebacker in a football team. He said it was built like one, too, just some hulking, hairy, long-armed claws, long snout, big pointy ears. He said it looked like the creatures from the film Dog Soldiers. Now, I didn't know what the hell that film was. It's like one of those B movies or whatever. Probably one of those home video movies, right? In 2002, back when those things were pretty popular. But they did a good job on these creatures. I mean, they look like what you would think a werewolf looks like. Only so menacing. He said it was more muscular than those ones. So, I mean, the ones in that film were muscular enough. I just looked up the Google images. A lot of them are censored, because the film's pretty nasty. But he said this thing stood between 6'5" and 7'3". He said it must have weighed 250 pounds, somewhere in that range. And he said the way it moved through the woods was just startling. And he said he's seen bears before, right? A bear's not going to run upright like that, just diving through the damn woods. You know, bears can stand up on their hind legs and kind of waddle around a little bit, walk a little bit. But come on, this guy's running like top speed and just super agile and dexterous, just weaving through the brush. Just on a do. And he said that the thing just vanished into the brush and was gone. Now, I mean, I don't know what you guys think about this. I told you in my previous videos that I've had an encounter. Now, I don't know if it was surreal. Was I dreaming? Was it a, what do you call it? Like a vision or something? Was I tripping out? A hallucination? I mean, I wasn't doing anything. In terms of drugs or whatever, I was a little boy. I was scared one night and I went and lied down on my parents' bed and I started falling asleep and I wake up and I see this thing just standing over me. And its head was nearly touching the damn ceiling. Its ears are pointing like this, but like I said, it had like a chainmail sort of, had like a garb on it. It was like an elegant creature. It wasn't like a menacing werewolf. This thing was like a being, an intelligent being. It scared me, man. I mean, it didn't look like it wanted to do anything bad, or it looked like it was observing me. It looked like it was checking on me. So I don't know. I mean, some folks say, oh, those are guardians. Iceman. But I don't know. But this guy, this is what he saw, right? And this guy generally, he's a hunting boy. Like he's not really into this sort of supernatural stuff. All right. I don't know if this could be correlated with the whole Ouija board thing. I mean, did he invite this shit into his life? Is this some sort of supernatural being that can break reality? I mean, apparently the animals around him saw it. They're all quiet. So it was more than just something in his mind. I mean, yeah, he could have hallucinated that, but I mean, it just seems, these stories are starting to add up. And stay tuned to this channel because I will be posting more of the Dogman and everything else, basically. The supernatural, the cryptids, Bigfoot, werewolves, and so forth. But, and like this video if you guys will, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the page. But he said it vanished out into the woods. And he didn't really want to tell anyone about this thing. He knew he'd get mocked, ridiculed. But he said it terrified him down to the soul. He said that he felt like he was shivering when he saw it. He said he felt like an infant. Infants do that? I didn't know that infants, they shiver when they come out of the womb. I don't really know. But he said he was shivering like a newborn. And he's never been that scared in his life. So he then drew his bow. After he saw this thing, he was like, are you kidding me? He put the knife away and he drew his bow. And he said, he was looking right in the direction where it went. And just kind of peering around, keeping an eye on the surroundings. He said he had his bow drawn for 10 minutes straight. And he said that was a heavy bow. With a heavy string or whatever. A heavy pull. And he said for 10 minutes straight, he had that thing ready to go. He was just so freaking terrified. But nonetheless, minutes later, the animals around him started making noise again. And he ended up getting down off his stand and rushing home. He moved his stand from that area. I don't think he returned to that area for several weeks. But there you have it. There's another encounter, and these things are really starting to add up. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys have any Dogman, werewolf, cryptid stories, contact me on Facebook, linked in the description of this video. Contact me on Patreon if you want to become a patron to support these videos, or contact me on Discord as well, linked in the description of these videos. Whichever works better for you. And I do appreciate my support that you guys, the support that you guys have to offer me on Patreon. Blessings to you, and I'll cover your story if it seems legit. But let me know what your thoughts are on this, and have you ever heard of a Dogman encounter like this? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace be with you.